What's up, guys? Welcome out to the beautiful scenery behind me here. We're gonna do another review way out in the field and do some fun with the crossfire and GPS on board of the Diatone Roma F4. It is brand new. It comes in around the $300 mark. We're gonna test it with a LiPo on here, a 4S850, as well as a nice long-range battery on there from Gap RC. It's the 4SP 3000 milliamp. It should give me upwards of 20 minutes flight time on this guy or more. So super excited to fire up this 4-inch with the ultimate combo on here. I've got my crossfire on the back and DJI Caddx Vista. So quite a nice combination and some beautiful scenery here for some flying today. We're gonna go ahead and send it. After that, we'll come back in the studio. We'll take a little closer look at the Roma F4 LR. See how it compares to the other micro sub 250 gram long range quads out there. Here we go, guys. Let's do it. Alright, guys, welcome back to the studio, so to speak, here at my desk. Nothing big, but there are big things to talk about. As far as this quad goes, I really love the design aesthetic on Diatone stuff. If you haven't really seen much of Diatone's quads before, be sure to check out Diatone on the Banggood website. They have some really awesome designs. Most recently, most of you guys know about the Roma F5, and I was happy to hear from Carl over at Diatone that they are releasing the F4 LR version. So this is the sub 250 gram micro 4-inch long range edition from Diatone, and they did also the dead cat design, so no props in view, and all the video that you saw shot in this review was all recorded in my DJI goggles at 50 megabit. And in that big open air setting, I rarely dropped too far below that, and I think the video looks fantastic. Only a few times did I have it kind of pixelize over the screen, and that's kind of what DJI goggles do, versus traditional analog gives you a lot of static on the screen, and I kind of like that just blur pixel instead of seeing static on like an old school TV. So again, I know I've seen a lot of Sharkbite reviews out there already, and there's that old school traditional static, but DJI has that sort of blurred pixel. I definitely prefer that over any type of TV static look, especially for recording video if you don't decide to carry a GoPro on top. And not carrying even a naked GoPro is going to shave off some of the weight. If you're looking to get 4K, you could put a naked GoPro on here and get fantastic 4K cinema quality video. You could also do 2.7K with Hypersmooth and have it even more stabilized. But what you saw here today in this review, a lot of times in my reviews I try to show you the camera because I want you to see how the quad's tune looks. And the good news about this one, in years past I have received some quads from Diatone that needed to be tuned, and I've shared those tunes with you guys, but this time it came to me with a good factory tune. So I think they've put some time into this one. There are a lot of other quads out there in this particular frame size that are competing with these guys right now with GPS and all the bells and whistles on there with Caddx Vista, and this one happens to be the new video system from DJI. It is the Caddx Nebula version 2 on here, so this is an upgraded version and it's not the original one. A lot of people didn't like the original with the sort of blown out, washed out looking video, and I think in this version it looks a lot better. The video is acceptable to me. Now on the very top of this quad is where the battery mounts, and we have enough truck bed here to be able to put the 4S 3000 on top, and it looks quite large up there. They give you several size battery straps, which I like. They give you the smaller ones as well as a bunch of hardware and an extra buzzer in here. You can plug that in, and some longer antenna posts if you're using the XM Plus, and some 3M sticky tape for the very top for your battery mount. Make sure you put that on because your bolts will rub through your battery and cause a fire. They also give you some extra harnesses in here for your RXSR or S-Bus type setups, which is really nice, and they give you an extra cable for the Caddx Vista. At least mine came with it. So that's plugging into their brand new flight controller, and that's the Mamba F405 DJI Mini that's on board. And the quad weighs in around 157 grams without the battery, and if you want to fly it under 250G, you can put the 4S 650 milliamp on here and it will be around right around 242 grams. The biggest and best combo that I could recommend for you guys for this quad would be that 4SP 3000 milliamp battery and Crossfire with your GPS. I mean, we have so much good stuff going on here, and the biggest thing about flying places that are outside your backyard is that you need to fly with GPS. If you're gonna fly Crossfire or anything that has some serious range to it, or you're flying over water, you better have your GPS set up right. Otherwise you're gonna fail safe and drop in the water. I've had other quads I've lost 4K video cameras in the water as well, so a few of mine are out in the Pacific Ocean at this point, and it's a sad thing when that happens. So total loss, there's no getting that back usually. And when salt water hits a lot of this metal, it's instantly corroded. So there's no bringing that back usually. But I was able to comfortably get the larger strap through here for the 4SP battery underneath the flight controller, slide that through, or you can use the smaller straps. And it's nice to give you 2 smaller straps in case you want to go double up on the top mount battery. I like this long high antenna for the video in the back as well for the Nebula. That's the Mamba left-hand circular polarized antenna back here. Very high, and I didn't have a lot of signal loss, which is great. And this VTX will crank all the way up to 700 milliwatts, so you can also do the hack and get it up to about 1000. And I did not have the Crossfire come with mine. I believe you can pick which receiver you want, but it might come as a PNP, which means you have to add your own receiver. A lot of times Diatone quads are like that, but it wasn't hard to solder up my Crossfire Nano. So there's 4 wires on here, and you're going to solder those up directly to this flight controller, and it's not hard. There are videos out there on how to do that. One of my favorite things about this quad, and you guys might have noticed or might not have noticed, but aside from the dead cat frame we have 6 bolts to release the top plate. And some of these other quads, you know, including some of my favorites like the Crocodile Baby here, this one has, I believe this one had 8. Yeah, this one has actually, well, it's 6 bolts on top, but there's 4 here with a hanging Cadex version. So they did a little different design layout here, which I think is a little smarter for freestyle. They have a center of gravity all the way right dead center for this one, and then they have the weight of the camera up front and the GPS and the external buzzer in the back. It's nice that they give you an external buzzer with the Baby Crocodile. So this is a very open frame design. Inside you have extra room in here to add things if you need to, whereas this one is quite a bit more condensed inside. So it kind of reminds me of these older quads that we were dealing with, that we had all kinds of stuff jammed in there back in the old school days when we were making 3S 5-inch quads with PDBs that stretched the entire length of the quad. It was insane. Some of you guys have been around since then, but a lot has changed since then as well. So on this design, as well as a lot of the other quads out there, we have replaceable arms on here, which is also really great. These are 3mm arms. We have 2mm top plate, which looks like 3K carbon fiber. Very, very nice, nicely polished carbon fiber. Super nice. XT30 coming out the side right here. You want to take a zip tie and zip tie that down, because you don't want that moving or getting pulled off of your ESCs. If that 4SP battery flies off, you could pull this right off your ESCs and damage them, pull the tabs right off, so be careful about that. You've got your USB port right there for Betaflight, and the GPS does not come set up. This is the other thing. You need to set your GPS up, because all these quads came without GPS set up, and you want to field test your GPS in your return to home. Make sure you use Oscar Lang's setup website page. I'll try to put the link down below for that. It's some settings in the CLI, and then in your failsafe tab you have to go and set it to GPS return. But you will not be able to do that until you're in Betaflight and you get the port right. So you have to get your ports right first. You have to activate GPS, and I believe it was around UART 5 or so, 4 or 5, and then that will activate. Until you have GPS activated in Betaflight, in the ports tab, it will not show up as a function for your switches, and it will not show up at the very top. When you finally get it in the ports, it'll show up at the very top of Betaflight. It'll show GPS, and then it'll also show up as a new tab where you can go in, and once the quad is powered up with a battery, then you'll be able to see packets coming in, and you'll see satellites loading up. Even if you have the quad close to a window in your house, you should see something loading up there. But the power system on here is good as well. It's I would say that the 1404 has pretty much been the 4-inch long range trend. Everybody's using these 1404s, and they're somewhere on the high end of the KV as far as these quads are concerned. The higher end KV is going to give you a little more freestyle capability. It feels really punchy on a 4S 850. The 850 is a good balance too for the power to weight ratio. It's not too heavy. You can go up to a 1000 milliamp, but I wouldn't really suggest putting a 1300 on here. Just it's kind of huge. You could, but you're kind of getting to that threshold of not being an advantage because of the extra weight. Now the Explorer as well, the Flywoo Explorer, it's using the Dave C FPV NIN 1404 motors, and these are actually the 2750 kV, which I prefer. I prefer the 2750 over the 3000. So the two quads in this lineup that have done the lower kV motors, which I think is probably smarter for long range guys that want to use a 4SP battery, a Li-ion battery. The lower kV is the choice. 2750 is just going to be just a little bit better for not pulling as many amps from the battery. When you're flying a Li-ion battery, you really shouldn't do freestyle. It's more about low throttle input and just enough to keep the nose up when you're flying in a straight line. Even the FPV wing guys kind of do that. You find that lowest throttle point, and that's your sweet spot for getting the longest flight time when you're flying long range or even medium range if you're trying to get the most out of your battery. So Flywoo and GEP-RC kind of win things right now as far as the lower motor kV for long range, if that's what you want with these quads. And that's really, I think that's what GPS and this trend is all about, under 250 grams. And this one also, the iFlight Chimera, how the hell you say that, 1404 Chimera, 3000 kV again. So on these, a little higher. This is the X frame. They also have the Dead Cat frame available as well. I'll try to put the links down below for those, but I think as far as the tune goes, it's probably one of the best tune. So for all my testing this year so far with these 4-inch quads, so far Diatone and GEP-RC are winning the tune contest, and you know, this one is very, very close to the Baby Crocs tune as far as the jitters go. So big competition out there, guys. They're all about around the same price. So aesthetic wise, it just depends on kind of like what frame you like the best. And you can get all of them under 250 grams, which is awesome. I like that the Baby Crocodile has the larger Cadex camera because everyone loves this camera. The Nebula V2 though is pretty good. So I'm still thinking that it could be a little better. But if you want the best video, you're probably going to go for the original Cadex camera, the Vista camera. So I think this is a good release. The props are really smooth. These are HQ 4-inch props. I'll try to find a link down below for you guys to put for those. I'll put the link down there for the 4SP GEP-RC battery. I know it's an expensive battery, but it's absolutely worth every penny. And I'm going to recommend that you guys use Crossfire Nano on there because it'll get you way out there, give you plenty of range. And so far, using my Tango 2, I'm not having any fail safes with that. So you can get great penetration with that receiver. And with 700 milliwatt on there, you can really make great range with that as well. With this combo, it's serving me great. So no fail safes and a very, very solid video feed. So definitely a 2 thumbs up quad from me on the channel. And this one, in my opinion, should probably be one of the tops of the year as far as this 4-inch category goes. So it's going to be a fight between the Baby Croc and the Diatone Roma F4 LR. We'll see who wins when we bring in my top video for my top 5 long-range quads. There are probably more coming because this is a pretty big trend right now. So I know there's some other companies out there right now kind of paying attention to these videos and all this testing so that they're well on the way for developing their versions of these 4-inch long-range quads. I love this trend. Under 250G long-range, it's great. With DJI and TBS Crossfire, it's just the ultimate combo. So thanks again for watching my channel, guys, and hopefully you learned something today. about long range under 250G. If you like it, please do subscribe on the channel, and if you enjoy the quality of the video, please do help me out on my Patreon. The link is down below, and I'll keep them coming to you guys, and I'll keep them honest as well. So hopefully you guys are safe and doing a lot of flying out there and having fun and enjoying the hobby. And if you're brand new to the hobby, welcome to the hobby. It is fantastic. You'll meet a lot of new people and you'll get outside. Guys, I'm Justin Davis. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.